Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, the Guardian games have begun. Hunters, Titans, and that floated class are facing off against each other in friendly competition. We kicked off the event with a dev insight showing some of us at Bungie sharing our thoughts on who is going to win. Sure, there are some lighthearted ribbing going on, but at the end of the day, we're all Guardians. Still though, the winners get to flex their class item in everyone's faces, so get out there and represent your team. Hunters won the first day, but Titans rose to the occasion to claim day 2. It's still far from over, and one thing we haven't told you yet is that during the final week of the event, every day's victory will count for double points. So if any class is holding a fairly significant lead and thinks they can sit back and relax, they better keep on pushing or another class could pull off a comeback. Before we move on for the rest of the TWAB, production director Justin Truman would like to speak on the current state of the game and our plans going forward. So from Justin Truman, hey everyone, if you like me, you're playing a lot more video games now than you did last month. In these uncertain times, we want Destiny to be a satisfying escape rather than a frustrating grind. There's been a growing list of concerns with the game lately. Trials, the rise of cheaters, our new seasonal model, the balance between rewards you earn versus the items you buy. We've been closely watching and discussing each of these topics as we read your feedback. When our community managers relayed that everyone at Bungie is listening, I assure you, we are. We're also working hard from our homes, trying to address and improve each of these areas for future releases. Nothing in Destiny is as easy as flipping a switch, and everything's gotten trickier while working remotely. But as Destiny players ourselves, we struggle with the same issues you do, and we want to fix them as quickly as we can. But fixing these issues isn't good enough if we keep you in the dark the whole time. So we're going to try something a little different. Every week for the rest of this season, we'll have updates from different members on the dev team covering the most important topics in Destiny right now and what we're planning to do about them. Today we're going to discuss trials and our war against cheaters. Next week we'll be diving deep on our seasonal model and how we plan to improve it in the future, as well as some info on bounties and our plans involving their evolution. We have plans for future editions of the TWAB. We also want to hear from you. What are the topics you want to make sure we discuss in the coming weeks? Like you, we love Destiny and the community that makes it as special as it is. For a bunch of us, Destiny represents more than a decade of our lives, and we're never going to stop trying to make it better, even if we have to do that from our beds and couches in this unprecedented time. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you in the coming weeks. Stay safe out there, Guardians. All right, well, Trials is definitely a big one. Cheaters is a big one I want us to talk about. The seasonal model, though, I'm honestly excited to see what Bungie says about that. Like, what is it they're thinking in terms of new light, the free-to-play model that we have, the seasonal model, the activities that we have roll up through here that are just like temporary 3-month activities. I want to know where they stand. And also, I know they can't really disclose numbers to us. We're just the community. But I'm curious to know, like, you know, what is it that's making Bungie the most money? Are these seasonal passes being sold separately? Is what's pulling in the bulk of their money? Is it Eververse? Is it the annual expansion? Probably not something we're ever going to really know, but it is something we brought up the other day because I asked people on our stream the other day, would they pay monthly if we got Forsaken level content year round? Now I know that sounds crazy for 2 reasons. Number one, that's probably not feasible. To have Forsaken level content year round, my God, sounds a little overwhelming. On top of that, nobody wants to spend extra money, and I get it, but I've got an MMORPG background, man. I got used to paying $15 a month, you know, on top of expansions. Now, subscription models for the most part have died out in most games. There's a few games that are still hanging on. You know, World of Warcraft is still definitely thriving under that model. Final Fantasy 14, another game, also still thriving under that model. Not saying that's the direction that Bungie needs to go, but I am curious to know where you guys stand on that. Now, moving on. Trials and Tribulations. A few TWABs ago, we talked about some of the issues and how the Trials of Osiris rewards are currently set up. We have an update on how we'll start addressing some of your feedback. Our goal for Trials is to encourage players to chase 7-win tickets. Resetting tickets should not be the most effective way to earn Trials gear. Rewards should show players that the further you progress, the better the payout. Players that have already gone flawless once over a weekend should be encouraged to repeat the experience on passages other than Mercy, to strive to earn more rewards and not sit at the bottom of cards, picking on fire teams struggling to hit the 3 wins or even just win a single match. Trials has always had a problem of being approachable for players who aren't highly skilled PvP gods. We believe that players should be encouraged to make an attempt every week, regardless of your skill. You should feel some value in dipping your toe each week to see if you can get a little further than last week, to push yourself to improve and get better. While every single player won't make it to the lighthouse, you should feel like you can get meaningful rewards by pushing yourself and still get some rewards for spending time in the activity. So what are we doing about it? Problem. Token rewards incentivize players to farm for 3 wins and reset their card. Solution: in Season 11, we're planning on creating token payout milestones at 3, 5, and 7 wins that give successfully larger chunks of tokens. Bonus token passes should increase these payouts, and on a flawless run, it will generate a significant token payout. Now the next problem. Trials is unrewarding for players stuck at 1 and 2 wins. Solution: create a weekly bounty that encourages participation each weekend and does not require match wins. When redeemed, the bounty reward the same item that comes from the 3-win passage, unlocking the Ingram for purchase that week. Excellent. Oh my, both of these things, by the way, absolutely amazing. Now moving on to the third problem. Trials feels unrewarding compared to other in-game activities. Solution: inject more chances to earn masterworking materials from trials. Masterworking and fusion materials will come from 3, 5, and 7-win payouts in Season 11. We're also looking into possibly adding a new material-focused farming card in Season 12. Ho! That's some good stuff right there. These are our current plans for changes we want to make in the short term. We're also still investigating improvements we can make in the long term. For example, you may be asking, what about Adept Weapons? We're currently investigating a new form of flawless weapons for a future season. They may not have the same name, but these weapons would have some differences in order to set them apart. Right now, we are currently looking at giving these weapons the ability to replace the weapon mod slot with an Adept mod slot that can accept custom-built mods in addition to the normal list of weapon mods. All of this is subject to change as we continue to develop, but wanted to give you an early look. We'll share some more details in the future. Holy hell, boys. That's a big one. That actually takes what we said before about just regular Adept Weapons from D1 and elevates it. You're telling me a custom slot there that we'll be able to change out? Hot damn it, boys. Now, Bungie continues. We know many of you are far more concerned about cheaters ruining your trip to the lighthouse, and rightfully so. It's a punch in the gut to lose on your final game to someone with a fully automatic Whisper of the Worm. Let's now take some time to update you on cheater war effort. All right, fellas, this is equally as big as everything that they just talked about. I mean, incentivizing reasons to play trials is a big one, but all of that is for naught if we don't have a good anti-cheat. Now moving up, no quarter. When winning every match is more important than ever, it's no surprise that there are some who are willing to cheat or pay others to cheat for them. We asked Destiny Engineering Director David Aldridge to give an update on the fight for a fair fight. So from David here, let's talk about cheating. Cheating in Destiny 2 is up roughly 50% since January, and significantly more in the highest skill echelons. Holy hell, they just came out and told us exactly how much cheating is up. The balls on Bungie, man. We expected a significant bump with returns of trials, and we made a number of careful preparations, most notably partnering with Valve to integrate Steam Datagram Relay into our PC build to mitigate DDoS attacks. While many of those preparations were successful, DDoSing on PC is nearly extinct, and we're still not happy with the amount of cheating happening today, especially in trials. I will say that yes, the changes they did make there, DDoSing is not a thing. I don't think I've been DDoSed once. Now it continues: when your pinnacle achievement are denied by encountering a cheater on a high trials ticket or devalued by seeing someone else with an ill-gotten goods, that's frustrating. Those frustrations are happening too often right now, and the vengeance of the banhammer is often too far behind. That said, the banhammer has not been idle. Before Season of the Worthy launch, we were averaging 656 bans or restrictions per week. In the first 4 weeks after launch, the rate more than tripled to 2,133 punishments per week. When it comes to tracking and punishing cheaters, we have to keep some of our plans and knowledge secrets for obvious reasons. But we still wanted to give you a brief overview of the worst types of cheating we're actively combating. So on PC, where most cheating occurs, unsurprisingly, memory poking attacks to gain gameplay advantage, infinite ammo, infinite ability energy, infinite respawns, and teleports. To acknowledge a valid point that we often see come up in the community discussion, Some of these attacks leverage Destiny's unique hosting model. Discussing here at much more length, we designed Destiny's model to optimize for the feel and consistency of high complexity, high action, high fidelity PvE experiences while allowing the seamless blending of PvE and PvP. Unfortunately, that model comes with some unique challenges to providing PvP security guarantees. That said, we continue to invest in preventions and detections in this space, leveraging the servers that host and monitor every match. This is a subtle point we've struggled to convey over the years. We do have servers hosting every match, but in our hosting model, those servers don't have complete authority over the game simulation to prevent all these sort of attacks naturally. This makes it more difficult, but not impossible, to mitigate these attacks. Aimbots. We have plans to address this problem, but we'll keep the details close to our vest to prevent further hacks and workarounds. Wall hacks, same as above. Yeah, normally those things go hand in hand, right? But you could toggle both aimbot on and off as well as wall hacks. Lag switching. We have a detection and banning system in this area, and we'll continue to hone those. We want to be cautious here because some players suffer with unreliable internet through no fault of their own and aren't using it to gain advantage. Now, I will say before we move to the console portion of this, as far as I know, the things like infinite ammo, infinite ability energy, infinite respawns, teleports, that has become something easier for Bungie to pick up. It happens, but from what I'm hearing, it's within 24 hours that those accounts get banned. I think the most difficult one to pick up on is wall hacks. You know, even if you don't use aimbot, just having wall hacks and knowing where the enemy is a huge advantage. What's so crazy is, like, from the mouth of a cheater this past week, the guy literally said, "I'm not cheating anymore, I just use wall hacks." So understand like what the thought process is behind that. Currently right now, that seems to be the big one. Whatever anti-cheat system Bungie has in place, that seems to be the final hurdle to get over to detect players that are using both wall hacks and aimbot. Now moving on to consoles, DDoS and trials. We have a detection and banning system around this. We've been evolving them since the original Destiny, but they're imperfect because DDoS occurs entirely outside of the machine running the game. One long-term mitigation to this is adopting SDR on consoles as well, which we hope to do at some point in the future. And as far as lag switching, see above, which is essentially the same banning process that they have on PC. Yeah, I would say DDoSing has actually increased more on console because it's easier to do it on console than it is PC. Whereas like aimbot, wall hacks, and all those other crazy hacks are much easier to do on Steam. Now Bungie continues, you didn't come here just to hear us describe the types of cheating in Destiny. The more pressing question is, what do we plan to do about it? We're shifting more people to help work on this space. More eyes analyzing cheater reports, more developments in our anti-cheat system, more people developing and testing new ban rules, and more fuel for the hammer. There are many details about new detections and preventions, but sharing those would give the bad actors a head start. The one thing I can say is that a big focus is rapid response. We want to get cheaters out of the pool more quickly. This is the key to reducing the value of cheating, especially in selling access to cheats. Bungie continues, we're changing a key policy. Fire teams of cheaters are no longer innocent. Holy hell! We now reserve the right to restrict or ban any player who has benefited from cheating, even if they didn't cheat themselves. This includes scenarios where players group up with or provide account information to a guide or a carry service, which then cheats on their behalf. We want you to find new friends out there, but be sure they have your trust before you go. If you LFG your way into a fire team with a cheater, get out and report them. If you ride them to a flawless, the ban hammer will come for you as well. Oh my God, that's a big one, boys. Let's just be real. Why has cheating increased so much? Because carry service have increased so much. Why has carry service increased so much? Because people are paying other people to carry their accounts flawless, but not all those people are just getting on those people's account and working their way to the lighthouse through means of gameplay. They're doing it through cheats and other malicious ways. Bungie goes on, we're considering requiring a much higher player time investment to play trials. We're interested in your thoughts on this. What if you have to play 100 hours on your account to participate in any trials match where a ticket with more than 4 wins was at stake on either side? Increasing the time it takes for new accounts to become trials ready increases the power of our ban hammer, since cheaters can always create new dummy accounts. But it also adds barriers to honest, law-abiding PvPers that want to check out Trials. Would the reduction in cheaters be worth the increased barrier to getting your T1000 aim skill buddy who's running behind on light to join your fire team? Well, that's a big one. We talked about a paywall, but then that got brought up that essentially what would happen is the people that charge people for carrying would just tack on whatever that paywall is. So it's essentially just going to charge the carries more money. So I understand that that's actually not going to be the say all in all, but requiring time played and 100 hours at that. I've reported a lot of people over the past few weeks. Not one of them have more than 100 hours in the game. Some of them have more than 50 though. I want to say I banned one specifically. He had 74 hours in the game. And I would say within 6 hours of reporting him, he was actually banned, which was good, but that's interesting. Chat, let me know what you think down below. Is 100 hours too much? What is a good time frame that players should play before ever entering Trials? Now down there below, we have redacted. Because this is a cheating discussion, know that we have additional initiatives we do not intend to share publicly in order to stay one step ahead of the attackers. So to bring this into the light, there are a couple misconceptions about Destiny security that are worth discussing here as well. Destiny does not have an anti-cheat. Destiny does have an anti-cheat that consists of custom security code and third-party security product used by many other AAA games. We have a team of senior security engineers working on anti-cheats. Anti-cheat isn't a yes or no thing. It's a constellation of possible mitigations. We're always looking to add new stars to our constellation and to strengthen existing ones. Destiny relies on player reports or humans to identify cheaters. The vast majority of punishments issued come from automated detections. We use player reports to help us identify emerging threats. All automated detections are reviewed and verified by a human before punishment to minimize the risk of false positives. Destiny should use Valve Anti-Cheat, also known as VAC. Destiny does utilize some of VAC's security features, and we have plans to utilize more. Bungie's security team and Valve's team meets to discuss the latest attacks and mitigations. All right, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've said pretty much everything here. I've stated before that I didn't think Destiny had an anti-cheat system. I also said that Destiny relies too much on player reports or humans to identify cheaters. I think I was just trying to look for the bottleneck, and it's obvious that the bottleneck is actually the verification by someone that works at Bungie. Notice that every one of these things, all of these automated detections have to be verified by somebody at Bungie. So I think that's where the bottleneck is occurring. Then Bungie continues, we're also reevaluating some of our decisions along the way. For example, we may have made a mistake in not having Trials behind this season paywall, which would have created a more friction against free account recycling cheaters. We won't change this for Season of the Worthy, but we'll reevaluate access requirements in future seasons. At its best, Trials is a fountain of nail-biting space combat crescendos, and it's something you can't find anywhere else. We want that experience to be available to as many people as possible, but if we're forced to choose, we would choose for Trials to be a sacred space, even if that means fewer people can play. Our overall goal with Destiny security is to provide a competitive, fair ecosystem where cheaters are rarely seen and are rapidly ejected from the game. We're not there right now, and we're increasing the priority. We'll keep you posted. All right, so they're actually thinking about adding a paywall on top of all these other things. I don't know. I feel like requiring 100 hours and a paywall might be a little too much. I actually think 100 hours would probably fix it. I mean, how many cheaters are going to be willing to grind out 100 hours on an account? Let me know in the comments below. Would you like to see all of these things put in place inside of Trials? On top of that, we have to ask ourselves, is there really something as too much security? Curious to know where you guys stand. Now moving on, Guardian's Heart. Last week, we unveiled the Guardian Heart Charity Initiative. Our mission is to combine the forces of this amazing community in support of our frontline healthcare workers who are risking their personal safety to battle COVID-19. 1 week later, we're already in sight of our total goal. To date, you have collectively raised over $600,000. While we never doubted you, we never take you for granted. Thanks to each and every one of you for your support. There's also a rundown as well for more streams that are going to be going on that'll be contributing to this charity event, guys. So feel free to check out any of these amazing folks. There's also going to be a new emblem present as well as a Bungie Foundation pin through this direct relief charity event. Great stuff, guys. Yo, big shout out to everyone that has contributed to this. Really, fellas. You're amazing. Now moving on to the ghost ship. On our Season of the Worthy page, we had an error that stated that there would be a ghost available on the bottom seasonal reward track for season pass owners. It was meant to inform players about the ship that is currently being offered. Since it was our mistake and we did promise a ghost, we will be delivering a ghost that you will be able to claim next season if you already purchased Season of the Worthy. Here's a quick look at the concept art for the ghost and what perks it will have. All right, very Siva-fied. What is this, supposed to be Warmind related? Okay, it's not Siva, just a little bit of red there. It's gonna come with Guiding Light though, Omni Telemetry, and Random Destination perk. Sorry for any confusion. We'll have more details on how to pick up your ghost before the next season goes live. All right, boys, we get a free ghost, man. Twitch Prime rewards. Oh, for Twitch Prime, fellas, you get this nasty stuff right here. Look at that. You get a s'mores emote, Death to the Kells exotic ship, a star map shell exotic ghost, and the whip crap legendary sparrow. Oh, it's nasty. Look at it. Look at this. Well, fellas, that is pretty much your TWAB. Some current known issues for those that are being affected by this. Bungie mentioned some error codes still being issued. Those are also continuing to be investigated. Down at the bottom, though, as Justin mentioned at the top of the TWAB, we've covered the first 2 topics in a series of write-ups about some of the biggest current challenges with Destiny. We plan to unpack new topics each week and give regular updates on how our efforts are going. Next week, we plan on talking about seasonal models and bounties. We know there's been a lot of feedback on bounties, especially since Guardian game utilizes them for scoring. We'll share some of the ways we'll be changing up bounties and how they're implemented in the future. Bear with us as we work to steadily improve the game. Much like you, we love Destiny and wanted to be the best that it can be. Cosmo. All right, guys, let me know what you think, fellas. Where are you standing on this? This is good stuff. I know people want things to happen now. What I was concerned about was, like, by the time Bungie did talk about it, they wouldn't say the things we want to hear. This is what I wanted to hear, okay? As far as anti-cheat, trials incentives, that entire new take with Adept Weapons sounds amazing. Hopefully next week, we'll get a good readout on where Bungie stands on this new seasonal model that they've had for the past 6-7 months. Curious to know if they think it's been great. I'm also curious to know if you guys think it's great. I like more, okay? I'm just saying, I like Forsaken, Black Armory. Season of Gambit was kind of whatever, but it was great for Gambit players. Season of Opulence, absolutely amazing. I'm probably too spoiled, man. I wish we can have content like that year-round. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.